My name is Eddy Gicheru Oketch. I'm from Kenya. PAD is a grassroots organization that works on developing small and medium enterprises to bulk industry levels, focusing on building young people between the ages of 18 and 35.
Africa has this youth bulge. By some estimates, countries like Kenya have in excess of 70% of the population under the age of 35.
Kenya is a very dynamic, growing, developing country. We have young, reasonably well educated, aspirational, ambitious and optimistic youth. And the actual opportunities available to them to use their time and energy productively is a bit limited.
PAD can provide concrete advice on how to start a business, how to scale it, where to source financing.
In a Soko for Jesus, started as individuals growing their own maize, then just through organizing them with the PAD model. In a farm that they used to make 3 bags of maize, now within only 3 months, they were able to build an industry that now has 33 bags of maize.
His model and theory for change just makes such sense.
We've long had projects in Migori. We just launched projects in Nairobi, and we're in the process of mapping groups in Nakuru to work with.
It is sustainable.
It's locally run.
We don't just look at peace, we look at economic development, we look at personal development of young people.
So far we have developed 35 youth economic empowerment projects, 10 individual enterprises, and developed a network of 250,000 trained PAD peace ambassadors.
We're on the cusp of launching an expansion into 15 counties, working with and incubating 10 projects in each county.
The people doing this work know the communities.
PAD itself as an organization has become a gravitational pull around youth initiatives.
I strongly believe that PAD has a strong opportunity to shape the future of Kenya in many ways.
If we get it right with your support and with the support of other people, we are confident of expanding into other remaining counties and make this model the model to deal with youth unemployment in grassroots communities.
PAD identifies talent and passion of young people between the age of 18 and 35. We find a common goal is economic empowerment. Then after identifying these talents and passions, we convert them into what we call income generating projects.
When PAD came, when they looked at our resources around, they told us that at this place you can do this, you can do this, tree nursery, keep poultry. It made me think wide. PAD has helped me through the trainings that we had with them to have knowledge in greenhouse implementation.
PAD is responsible for funding some of our activities. They have funded our fish pond. They are also training us on leadership skills, business management, and networking.
For example, tanks of mewa, mawa temogo agriculture.
Mokuongo wan gi projects ma sani wasechako.
Gima natimo kapok ang'e PAD, naloko ga ohand cham. Lakini PAD koro osekonya mang'eny, ma kata chiaye mineno katwe e rangach kanyogo.
An kaki an esamane pok adonjo ga e Soko for Jesus ka.
And it's what is assisting me to have a better life at the moment.
When I was 17, my country faced a post-election violence. I had never seen a nation that brothers go against brothers and sisters go against sisters and even neighbors against neighbors on a basis of a rigged election. PAD was formed when we were working on peace building and mobilizing young people to be peace ambassadors.
What PAD aims to do is to promote peaceful coexistence, but we look at the issue of peace from a root cause perspective. We're not just trying to talk about dialogues and about promoting calmness or some sense of peaceful coexistence, but what is it that causes the lack of peace?
In the midst of doing this, we realize that most young people involved in the violence who are economically disenfranchised from back streets and rural communities So we envisioned building an organization that will not just talk about peace, but go back to the root causes of the violence.
PAD was involved in the election monitoring process for the most recent elections in Kenya, and the contributions that PAD made to those being peaceful elections, I think, are tremendous.
We at PAD, we are convinced that the cottage industries, especially in the grassroots communities, is the way to go. You know, building these small and medium enterprises so that they don't die in 3 years. Instead of one person owning a kiosk, 15 or 20 of them own a business that then employ the people within their communities. I've seen the PAD model work in terms of the ripple effect of empowering one group member of a youth group. That transformation, to me, gives me hope. At the core of things lies my family. Growing in a family of about 9 kids, my mom and my dad had to struggle to put food on our table. My elder siblings struggled to get an education, which they never got. Yet, you could see in a household where one person had got an education, the way girls were being respected, the way they could balance their diet, the way they could approach a different lifestyle. I started envisioning a family that would be better, a family that would have better opportunities, where my younger sisters would have a lifestyle just the same as other girls from other families who had gone to school. And this prompted me to start working hard. My mom passed away in 2003. Many families came together to give me support. All of them not related to me. They were very passionate about giving me an opportunity and struggling to get me an education. I was built out of other people's goodness from those tribes. My difference did not matter. What mattered was my talent. When the post-election violence in Kenya happened based on ethnicity, negative ethnicity and tribal targeting, it really broke my heart. I'd never seen people killed on the basis of ethnicity, of difference. So I think that was the spark to my activism, the idea that I had to leave school to go and start peace movement and work towards reconciliation and healing in the country. I see a continent where people see one another as people and people work together to solve common problems.
Eddy often says that the difference between his life and the lives of those colleagues and classmates he grew up with who still live in Migori were the opportunities afforded to him, which he is now tirelessly dedicated and devoted to being able to afford others.
We met for brunch and we were supposed to get together for about an hour and a half. It was all the time that either of us had, and we ended up spending pretty much the whole afternoon together long after our food was gone.
When Eddy came up with the idea in church and presented it to the church youth, it was a noble idea.
I think of Eddy as being an individual with a very, very strong internal moral compass.
Eddy is like the candle that doesn't go out.
He'd come from a really difficult background, but had risen beyond his mental and physical restrictions to become what I thought was a really vibrant young man.
When I first met Eddy, I was just amazed by how many followers he had during the post-election crisis. It was over 50,000.
Eddy is PAD, PAD is Eddy.
There are thinkers in the world and we need them, and there are doers in the world and we need them, but we need some thinking doers also, and Eddy's one of those.
I actually got to sit next to his father while Eddy was crossing the stage at his graduation. And it was a very powerful moment to just see the joy that was in his father's eyes.
I had been especially impressed with his vision, his ambition for doing something practical about this issue here in Kenya.
He was voted amongst the 30 most influential people under 30 in Africa.
He is smart, he is passionate.
Passionate.
He's well on his way to being a household name.
Driven.
And every time I'm talking, I forget how young he is.
He's charismatic.
Focused.
Visionary.
Eddy's phenomenal.
Remembers where he came from.
And really he will stop at nothing to ensure that the work of PAD gets carried out. I think one of the major problems with much development aid going into Africa is it is solutions that are being created in cities or countries very, very far away.
PAD is locally run. They're looking at how can we address what is causing the problem, not the end results of the problem.
One of the reasons why I think America should invest in Africa is that the African economy is growing.
I think it's different than the view that a lot of Americans have, where you're giving handouts to Africa. What you're really investing in now is sustainable solutions, and I think you're going to see results.
It's the opportunity to get involved in something that really could take hold.
There's many ways to help PAD.
We need skills,
donating money,
folks who know how to identify and scale businesses,
making connections to other resources that you may have,
folks who know how to think about development and to do development.
Funding and support, and even just sharing knowledge of what has worked in other areas.
Kenya does not want to go back to the dark ages of 2007, 2008. In that regard, therefore, it calls for support from the donor community, from individuals, from everybody else.
PAD in 5 years is going to be the organization renowned for youth enterprise and youth development.
My hope is that if we get it right with your support and with the support of other people, we are going to go somewhere great.